been yelling at officers that he wants to see his girl or he wants to talk to his girl. We're assuming that's his girlfriend, could be his child. We don't know that yet. Officers have taken positions behind those squad cars. Those squad cars have inched up a little closer. Officers do have weapons drawn. They are hiding behind those cars, and they are communicating with him, trying to give him what we call felony stop instructions, which would be, first, let us see your hands. Then open the door. Get out of the car. Keep your hands exposed. Back up to us, and then kneel, cross your legs at the ankle, and lay down. Those are the instructions they would be giving him now. He's not, at this time, coming out. Again, this has been playing out at least 30 minutes or so in southwest Dallas and around Camp Wisdom, Interstate 20, 67, US 67, very busy roadways, thoroughfares, interstates this time of day in southwest Dallas. It's been dramatic at times, again, jumping medians and going in and out of residential neighborhoods as well. Now you see DPD squad cars inching a little closer, officers not wanting to expose themselves. The idea here is for him to see that there are way more of them than there are. Now he's starting to inch up himself a little bit. Looks like he may be preparing to maybe take off again. These are dangerous moments, potentially dangerous moments. What's in his mind? What's he thinking? Does he feel like a bird trapped in a cage, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide? Is he going to make the right decision and give up and do the right thing and bring the tension down quickly by obeying the commands of officers? We don't know yet what he is wanted for. We do believe we have his name. We are checking that to try to find out exactly what those felony warrants are for. But at this moment, police are wanting him to obey their commands, and it's a time to be very careful for police. When people feel trapped, oftentimes not wanting to give up, they will certainly do desperate things. Running, to begin with, is a very desperate move. There are, again, at least those 4 squad cars, and when Sky 4 widens out, you'll see there are others behind. So we have crews on the ground headed in that direction as well. This is near the Southwest Center Mall around Camp Wisdom, 67. US 67, in fact, is the interstate that is just on the east side of the Southwest Center Mall. Okay, right now, here's what's happening. Highway 67, southbound traffic on Highway 67 is going to be shut down. And likely we'll see northbound traffic on Highway 67 shut down around Cedar Hill. They don't want anyone, if he should have a weapon, and again, we do not know that, but if he should have a weapon, they don't want any citizens to be driving along and something bad would happen. So that's going to create a traffic mess, as you might well imagine, for people headed on US 67 down towards Cedar Hill, Midlothian, and the like, as well as for folk trying to come up from that region to get into Dallas to do business this time of day. This started, again, we think around 2:15, maybe 2:10 or so, when we began to hear the scanner traffic about a chase that was taking place. Sky 4 is there. We have ground crews on the way. Bob Harmon and others on the way there now. Police are, again, still trying to get him to come out. And if he has a cell phone, and if the police know that phone number, then they are calling him on that phone. They've been yelling commands at him. He was yelling back to the officers, "I want my girl," or "I want to talk to my girl." And, of course, that's not going to happen at this moment. They're not going to bring her to that location at this moment. They want to try and control this situation. But because it's 10 minutes to 2 or so, it's on the service road, they're going to wait for a minute. I would not be surprised if SWAT's already been called and if they're not on their way. I would not be surprised at all. This is what you call the first response. That would be the patrol units, those who were engaged in that chase. So now they hold the position, keep eyes on him, try to watch his movements in that car while SWAT and others who are trained begin to make their way to southwest Dallas. I'm Sean Rabb. You are watching live as this standoff now kind of plays out in southwest Dallas. We're going to stay with this a little bit longer. We do apologize for interrupting your broadcast day, but this has merit because it potentially can be of harm to many people traveling in that part of our viewing audience, Southwest Dallas, here this midday on Monday. I want to also tell you that we'll be hearing from Evan Andrews at the end of our breaking news here, as he wants to update us and needs to update us on the storms that are developing today. Especially with daytime heating as it warms up some, we're likely to see some storms pop off, and Evan, who's been on top of that all morning, will bring us up to date on that. Okay, it looks again, now he started doing this a few moments ago and stopped, but it looks like he's slowly inching up just a little bit. I believe his left hand is out of the window of the vehicle, but he hasn't put both hands out. In fact, if he's inching up a little bit, he is. He's creating distance between he and the officers, and he's off again. There he goes. They'll be jumping back in their squad cars and joining what is really at this moment a slow chase. At times the speeds have been up around, we believe, 55 to 60, 65 miles an hour. He's moving along at a slow pace now, still on the service road. And we're just going to watch. He's got up to speed here pretty quickly. He'll be, let's see if he, okay, he's going into, that's an entrance into the mall parking lot. Now, what they don't want is for him to jump out of that car and bolt into the Southwest Center Mall. He is across the parking lot in the mall, and he's going at a pretty good clip of speed here as he's driving through the mall. This is not North Park Mall, so it's not nearly as crowded. He has a lot of space to move, but he's headed back. There you see, oh, that was close as he maneuvered through those cars there at that intersection. Here's a police officer who may or may not try to cut him off. He may just let him roll past. He's going to let him roll past. Looks like he's headed towards, I believe he's going to be headed towards Camp Wisdom through the mall parking lot with a parade of police behind him. And here we go again. He's slowing down now. You see the Tahoe or Suburban, the police SUV, that may very well be Duncanville, who's assisting Dallas. Could be a Dallas SWAT unit. I knew they were calling the SWAT units, and so whenever you see those SUVs, those are SWAT guys. They use those to carry all their gear. And now it's certainly taken on a different kind of attitude because SWAT's taken over, even in their marked units. Here's a guy has no idea what's going on at his car there. Get in the car, man. The police are waving him, telling him to get in the car or go away hurriedly. And he has no idea what's going on. About 1:59 now, if you're just joining us, this is a chase that Dallas police have been involved in, approaching the 45-minute mark. Perhaps it's now on the northeast side of the Southwest Center Mall. The man in the red car has outstanding felony warrants. We believe that police were trying to execute an arrest based on those warrants when something took place and he was able to bolt. The chase has been throughout Southwest Dallas, into, at times, Duncanville, sometimes off of main streets into residential neighborhoods. Okay, the SWAT team in those SUVs, they've opened their doors, and they are now getting dressed. They're suiting up in their armor, their protective gear. They don't know if he has a gun or not. They're not taking chances. We're going to be joined now. Brandon Todd is going to join me now. How you doing, Brandon?
Pretty good, pretty good.
As we talk about this event that's taking place. There you see all of the squad cars and SUVs, or quite many of them.
Well, and see what we're noticing here is the escalation of this. We started out with just 4 vehicles here. It looked as though they were trying to talk to him, and they at least had his attention. Like you were mentioning earlier, he was asking to see his girl. Mm-hmm. At that point, they have a conversation going with him. It's a different feel. Right now, it's different now that he's taken off again, the second time. He's the first chase part of this was much like this part what we've seen. He's crossing medians, he's speeding up, he's slowing down. There's an erratic nature to his driving.
Exactly.
And you don't know what to expect. That's why they're trying to be as cautious as possible. And again, people wonder why we break into these things. You kind of alluded to this before, is that this is a safety concern. This is a concern to the people that are around.
Okay, let me cut you off for a minute. Here you see that's a SWAT officer, and they are approaching on the passenger side. He's getting out on the driver's side. Now officers are running for cover. They are giving him instructions now.
Now he's out of his car.
He is out. He's out. He jumps back in. And he dropped something and he picked it up. I don't know if that's a cell phone. I don't know what that was. He dropped it and picked it up. Wow, that was a moment.
They're trying to,
as the officers were trying to
read this situation too.
The officers trying to move up on the passenger side.
Trying to flank him on one side and try to get him to do something on the other.
He stands up on the driver's side, and they're exposed at that moment. So they quickly run for cover because they don't know if he's getting out with a weapon and if he's opening fire or what.
And you can see them repositioning right now as they try and.
Okay, you see
and more officers kind of backing up here at the those officers behind.
This is the kind of north side of the mall. That blue building there is the barber shop. You see the cars there. It's a barber and beauty salon. So they want those folks, obviously, to stay inside. We saw him drive through the mall parking lot, Brandon. Not a lot of cars in the mall. It's not a high-volume mall like a Galleria or North Park. Or Parks Mall in Arlington, so there's room for him to easily get through the parking lot, although there were some close moments even in there.
Well, and one of the biggest fears is involving other people. You saw the gentleman there that was in the car, not too far away.
Right.
It wouldn't be too hard for this guy in the car to somehow involve that other person. So, the seriousness of this, the danger of this is evident here.
Now, don't be surprised if we see some DPD vehicles come around on the front side and kind of cut him off where he doesn't have any place to go. They want to limit his options to zero except to obey their commands and to come out. When you're in a car and the police can't see your hands and they don't know what's in that vehicle with you, it ratchets up the tension level.
Well, and Sean, you've talked to these people numerous times. When he's gone through a situation where he's in a conversation with them and they're at some point negotiating something and he takes off again, how flexible now are they?
With each movement, they become less flexible. And really, the officers who were talking to him, those were patrol officers. As we mentioned, that we would probably see SWAT coming when they were standing there, stopped alongside the service road of US 67 southbound. And now SWAT has arrived. With the SWAT guys, they work in all different divisions of the city, different sectors of the city. So when they get the SWAT call, wherever they are, north central, southeast, the central district, they have to go to that area. It takes them a few minutes to respond. They've responded really quickly, and they are gearing up now. Best thing that could happen now is for him to take a deep breath and decide it's over for the day and take the ride to the county hotel, because that's the only way he's going to get out of this. 2 o'clock, a little after 2 now.
We're going in at least an hour here, where from when we started, this started, as you mentioned, began as a felony stop, a felony suspect. They tried to pull him over at some point, tried to stop him. He would have no part of that. He took off. The chase was somewhat erratic, high speeds, slow speeds. He's crossing medians. He's going from the northbound lane to the southbound lane, around 67, around Duncanville, around the South Dallas area.
Right, in Southwest.
And we watched as he then stopped and was there for quite a while, making a demand, asking to see his girl, whatever that means, girlfriend, or whatever, what have you. They, at some point, looked like they were in a conversation with him. And there was only, when we watched, 4 marked units there.
Well, now that number's grown to at least 15.
That, yeah,
at least 15.
Yeah.
The one smooth, what we would call a smooth car, the plain car that you see here, is going to be a Commander. And I just think that, this is something that the police train for. We may actually get to see them carry it out right now, whatever that is that they're going to do.
Well, I think the best thing they've got on their side right now is that he's not moving. At least it's giving them an opportunity to gather a plan, to reposition, to start at least making good on a strategy that they've come up with. And you're noticing we're pulling out here. We don't know what's going to happen either, and we're trying to be sensitive as well to the situation. So,
and I can't really see what's in front of the car. Doesn't look. We can't see if there are any squad cars or other police vehicles in front of the car from where this man has stopped at the moment. I do know that that barbershop there And there's about three or four cars there in the parking lot. Okay, people in the helicopter are telling us now, Brandon, there are no squad cars or SUVs in front of the suspect's car.
Okay.
But they are getting in position in various places. Some are leaving this location, perhaps.
And you have to speculate at least that he's open to something. He's open to either discussing something with them, talking with them, or he'd be driving like he was earlier. I think at some point...
maybe he's on the phone with family, with mama, or
something broke down earlier that caused him to continue on where he was. And he was stopped for probably 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, 10, 12 minutes, easily. Right. And that was the second time that he had stopped.
Right. And obviously something in the negotiations there broke down, and he took off again. But he didn't drive very far, so...
No.
Again, you have to wonder why he stopped, what was his goal, what does he think he's going to get out of this?
Right.
And again, you see him, like we mentioned, repositioning now and getting a plan in place.
Yeah, you can see officers moving behind vehicles with their gear. It looks like they're going to dress up behind those vehicles. And I believe that the police are telling us to get back. That is our helicopter. And that's not only for our safety.
Well, for theirs as well. Yeah.
Well, not only for our safety in a situation like this, should he have a weapon and make a decision, but it also sometimes is so that if something very bad happened, if they were to make an attack on this vehicle to try to get him out, that,
that's something we don't want to see.
Yeah.
It's something we don't want to show.
And
he could be on the phone with somebody who's telling him, we're seeing this.
Right.
We're seeing what's going on. So, and we're following a Twitter feed at Max PD.
Right. It's Lieutenant Max Guerin who has been tweeting out. They are asking for a temporary flight restriction in the area. And why is that important? Again, of course, as we know, not only is Southwest Center Mall here, but there's an airport, a City of Dallas airport right near there. So there's could be a lot of air traffic.
And this may have been a demand from him as well. I want the chopper out of there. Get the chopper away.
Or
maybe something he's asking for.
Or some threat
trying
or something.
To maybe make a little negotiation with him. All right, we'll do this if you do this, or what have you. So
again, they're asking businesses in the southwest area of Dallas around Southwest Center Mall to shelter in place. They're asking now. There's a clothing store down there that's not in the mall. There's quite a few small entrepreneurs along Camp Wisdom. There's a Whataburger, as you can see. So they while it's not that close, they're wanting all of those people to stay put to minimize potentially traffic or people in that area. We moved back a pretty good hike, as you can see. Our shot's a good ways away now.
And we're being asked. We're being asked to back off at least 2 miles.
Okay, right.
Dallas PD asking us to move our chopper back at least 2 miles. That gives them, again, room to operate, room to at least try and strike up another negotiation with him.
There are people, of course, as you would imagine, shoppers in the area who have now stopped to look. And police really don't like that when that happens. They would much prefer you not stand there and gaze, even from a distance, that you think might be safe. Because if something bad happened, then there's no safe distance. About 9 minutes past 2 now. We are approaching probably the hour mark of when this thing began. Again, the man in the red car, police tell us, has felony warrants. And that's how all of them have been told. Now, of course, you know that this information is very fluid, sometimes changes, and what we hear may or may not be accurate at the end of the event. We are passing along to you some of what we have heard, some of what we have been told. It is possible that police feel as though he has a weapon, and that's possibly why they've asked us to move back, to temporarily halt airspace, shut down airspace in that area. Maybe they have good eyes on it. Maybe that's what he dropped,
Right.
and they saw that.
Right, and you see him, Lieutenant Max Guerin, tweeting out as well that they won't be blocking him in with any regular vehicles because the vehicles don't stop bullets. They don't know what he's going to do. They don't know what he's prepared to do.
Yep. So
he's already taken off twice.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see, as I mentioned earlier, that their armored vehicle, if they're going to block him off, that's what they're going to use. And look at that. There it is. Boom. I told you it'd be coming, and it just pulled in.
And again, what is your assumption on them talking to him, or at least maybe are they on the phone with him?
Well, see, that we don't know. At one point, we knew they were yelling at him. Whether they're on the phone with him or not, I don't know. But what happens, it reaches a point where they start telling you, okay, you're outnumbered, give up, we're going to do this next, there's nowhere for you to go, give up, come out. You see, here's one of their armored vehicles here.
I see they're kind of getting a position that it more or less surrounds him at some point.
Right, to the best they can. And the armored vehicle certainly gives that frontal view here.
And at some point, Sean, there comes a time when, and if he tries to make any demands as he was doing yesterday or earlier, just
right.
I'd like to see my girl. At this point, those are going to fall on deaf ears.
Oh, no question. They're not trying to negotiate with him about seeing anybody at this point. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. What will happen now, listen, police have been in this position before, and they don't want this to have a bad ending. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, and they're asking businesses, like you were mentioning, rattling off all those different businesses, asking them to shelter in place right now. Don't even come out. Don't even think about it. Don't think about trying to see what's going on or take pictures or some people.
Okay, now you can see the armored vehicle is inching closer and closer to the red four-door sedan. "12 minutes past 2 now. You're watching the Standoff in Southwest Dallas. I'm Sean Rabb. With me, Brandon Todd. This is near the parking lot of Southwest Center Mall. It's actually closer to the barber shop. And for many of you who are familiar with that area, what used to be Bernard 2 nightclub back in the day. It's right behind there, actually.
And Dallas PD now tweeting out that they're trying to continue to negotiate a peaceful resolution with this. People might think, well, why don't they just rush him? Why don't they go in and get him? But that's not the goal. The goal is a peaceful resolution as best as to the ability of the Dallas Police Department. So
right. The goal is not to expose themselves to danger.
Or prolong this where he can hurt somebody else.
Right. You don't want to have an officer somehow get wounded or injured and laying there. Then you have to go in and get him or her out. So the goal is to do this as safely as possible with all of the training. There are at least 2 armored vehicles now that DPD has on site, and at least 20 perhaps squad cars and SUVs. About half of those are going to be SWAT team.
And again, just to recap for folks that may be just joining us, this is a situation that's been going on now for more than an hour with a suspect in a red car there, somewhat to the left of center on your screen. And it was a felony suspect. Dallas police tried to make a stop on that suspect, tried to stop him at some point. He took off and gave chase. It was an erratic chase, speeds that were fast at sometimes, slow at others. He was crossing medians, going from one direction of traffic to the other direction of traffic. And at one point, we stopped. They had him stopped along the service road, I believe of 67, and down in the Duncanville area, the Southwest Dallas area. It looked as though they were talking to him. He made a demand, "I want to see my girl." He was stopped for probably 10 to 15 minutes or so. And you saw them begin to at least somewhat close in on a position where they had their guns drawn. They were protecting themselves behind their vehicles. At the end of that 15 minutes, he took off and started driving again. And now and it wasn't a long drive. He didn't go very far. Right. He ended up in the parking lot where we are now. Again, the first stop, we saw probably, 4 marked units with DPD. Now we're looking at more than a dozen SUVs, marked units. Now the armored vehicles, you can see one of them almost in front of the car, at least to a position, maybe an 11 o'clock position, 10 or 11 o'clock position to that car.
I don't know if you can see this or not, but at the bottom of the screen, and of course we have this banner across the screen right now, so you may not be able to see it, but they are moving cars out of the Southwest Center Mall is what's happening. People who are in the mall, apparently a lot of folk just kind of pulled to the edge there, in their vehicle like they were at the drive-in theater watching this play out. And police will tell you if you can see the suspect car, you're always too close. So now they've got officers trying to get those people to move out of the way. Quit looking. You could get hurt.
No,
people take that for granted.
It's hard to see. Is he getting out of his car? Can you see that? Is he getting
Looks
out
like
of
the
his
door
car?
was
It
open.
looked like the door open, and he's down on the ground now.
Yeah.
He's down on the ground.
Yeah.
So
all right.
it looked as though shots were fired. Now, that may have just been...
Well, it doesn't look like that based on the reaction
of the
of
screen
people.
Or whatever. So
no one's moving.
Looked as though, yeah. So
no one's moving. So it doesn't look like there are any shots fired. At least, no one's moving.
From the car, there was a little bit of a flash, but again,
that's probably the reflection of the sun.
It may be. Yeah.
Because the officers who are standing behind that Tahoe are still standing. So it doesn't look to me as though there were any shots
he is
fired.
definitely down on the ground now and not moving. Seemingly still, and so at some point he did step out of that car, and
now
we saw him drop just a few seconds after he stepped out of the car. He dropped to the ground.
They have to be
ended
giving him
either
instructions.
by his hand or by officers' hands. So
again, it doesn't appear as if anyone's reacting as though the shots were fired or someone was shot, Brandon. I just need to underscore that. That doesn't appear to be the posture of the police, and I say that based on the officer standing at the SUV with the door open. Looks like he is out of the vehicle, though.
Yeah, he's down on the ground.
And so if he is out, they are giving him instructions to follow.
It more or less looked like he fell to the ground. He could have just quickly gotten to the ground. It's hard to tell from this angle, but suspect down. Okay, DPD tweeting out that the suspect is down.
Right, and if he is down, it wouldn't be by their hand, I don't believe, Brandon, if he's down in that way. Suspect is on the ground.
Suspect is down, and they're en route to the scene to try and at least brief the crews that we've got on scene.
He has been shot.
He has been
He
shot.
has been
Okay,
shot.
so yes,
he has been shot.
There were shots fired at least by officers, and again, as we mentioned, it looked like he fell to the ground just a couple of seconds after he got out of the car. And they're moving now in a group, carefully and calculated, up to that car.
Right.
First, I assume to check whether he is
Looks
yet
like
still alive. And they've got an ambulance on the way, we're understanding.
Yeah, you see the group of officers there. You can see the EMS bus coming in. The ambulance is coming. He is shot.
Right, they're at the car
down.
now.
They are at the car.
And they're checking him.
There may be no need for that.
There goes
ambulance.
the armored car right in front of there. So we'll see soon the urgency with which that ambulance pulls up. And there's the ambulance. You see a rescue ambulance right there behind some of those patrol SUVs. Just to the right on your screen there.
Yes. Those SUVs in position to block our view, as you can see.
Right. So he probably was in that car all of maybe 15, 20 minutes at this location before...
Maybe a little bit before 2 o'clock at this location.
Before he got the door opened, he got out, and literally 1 or 2 seconds after that, he hit the ground.
And that's the second time that he had gotten out at this spot. He got out, if you'll recall, dropped something.
Picked it up quickly, and then got back in the car.
Right.
So
was it a phone? Was it a gun? We can tell after that is when they asked us to move back, when they halted the airspace temporarily in that area. Again, because if you make a decision to get out and shoot, a bullet can go anywhere.
Well, yeah, and this is
People
so touchy
watching.
with officers. Their goal is to try and make it so that
Right.
A, they try and end this peacefully, but B, most importantly even, is that anybody around there in those businesses or anyone walking or anyone in a nearby parking lot isn't hurt.
Well,
And as you mentioned, gunfire can go any which way. And
look, the paramedics aren't in a hurry.
no, it doesn't appear as though they are. It doesn't look
It looks
like
like they were walking with a blue tarp.
rushing out with a
Right.
with a cot.
Okay.
So I think we're going to end this part of our coverage with this.
Okay, so we're going to, as you see the radar on the screen, there are some showers that are